It's not easy to get an 8.5 in IELTS speaking, but that's exactly what my student Olena did. She joined the IELTS Speaking Gold course about 2 years ago. But not only that, she joined the Idioms course, the Vocabulary Vault, and Eli's writing course. What's special about Olena, and I think makes her success so great, is that she actually finished the courses. And that's often the difference. In this interview, she tells us about the challenges she faced, how the courses helped her, and some tips for you as you're getting ready to prepare your IELTS speaking test. Let's jump in to Olena's journey. Okay, great. Hi, Olena, how are you?
Not bad, thank you. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
But
awesome, great.
you can call me Lena. That's okay. This is how I'm called in my family.
Lena,
Mm-hmm.
excellent. Great. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you here. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm very excited about kind of sharing your journey through IELTS and the preparation, the challenges you've faced, and kind of the result now that you've done your IELTS test. Let's begin with a quick introduction about you. Tell us a bit about who you are, where you're from, what you're doing.
Hello, everyone. As Keith mentioned, my name is Olena. I'm from Ukraine. I'm a Ukrainian born and bred. And I'm a lifelong teacher. And just using your technique, I will just respond just to the question. I have been teaching English for donkey's years since the time when I started teaching at my alma mater in my early 20s. To be honest, no regrets. I'm really happy.
Fantastic. So now you're based in Australia, and what are you doing there at the moment?
So I'm doing pretty much the same. I'm teaching.
Okay, great.
Teaching English to the students that are called from different cultural background, and mainly just Chinese students who come to Australia for the immersion program.
Now, gosh, there's a lot of things to talk about here. I'm very interested in the culture shock you may have had in Australia, but I'd like to know first of all so you recently took IELTS. You joined me and the courses I run several years ago, I think in 2022. You've taken IELTS recently. Why have you taken IELTS?
Okay, the reasons are very pragmatic because of the reality. I need now just to look for other options, how to diversify my opportunities for employment. And according to the Australian policy, namely just Victoria, where I am, even if you are qualified as a teacher, but because you are a non-native speaker, and if you want to teach to secondary level, to secondary school students, you need to meet certain requirements. And one of them is having IELTS, and the general band score should be 7.5, provided speaking and listening are 8.
Right. And you got, well, an overall 8 and an 8.5 in speaking. Is that right?
Correct.
Congratulations. Well, that's amazing. It's really, really good. Yes. So when you were preparing for IELTS, I mean, and maybe also the move to Australia, what were the challenges that you faced?
The challenges were many. First, time constraints, because on the one hand, I did have a lot of time, but on the other hand, I am the breadwinner in my family, and I had a lot on my plate because I had different commitments and actually working 6 or sometimes even 7 days a week. So starting early in the morning, finishing late at night, and that is, I need to find just the appropriate time, okay, just to do the course. And maybe number 2 or maybe number 1, I don't know, is definitely my personal ambitions, because on the one hand, unlike other students, I've been in English for the whole of my life, but that is another challenge because the paradigms, language paradigms and cultural paradigms we've been living in just have been rapidly evolving and changing. And to be totally upfront, I started just learning English in the times of the Soviet Union. And
Right.
since that time, I went through different social shifts, and including just the present. And as we understand, the realia change, and so does the language.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the challenge for me, was to catch up with the realities.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. Great. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it's interesting. The cultural changes, the language changes, the situation changes, and for you, building up to the IELTS test and the preparation. Now you chose to join, I think, what the gold course at that point. What were the challenges you faced, and why did you choose to choose an online course like that?
Okay, like many kind of students who are planning, right, just IELTS, you start looking for something that could work for you. And it is not secret that the internet is inundated with tons just of options and opportunities. And when I came across one of your videos, I told myself, well, this is something I'm missing and this is something I need. And actually, I started just with the free videos, some shorts, and just your website.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a situation, I reached the point, and what was convincing for me, your philosophy,
Mm.
because it resonated with mine. So number 1, in one of your tips, you mentioned that you cannot offer any fast track solution.
Yeah.
So that is something that echoes what we call deep learning,
Yep.
right? Because number 2, no memorization, but still, definitely you are a professional. So
Thank you.
nobody would argue that, and being just a native speaker, but there are many native speakers, yet what else kind of worked for me was your idea, several of them. One of them is about the context. You used the metaphor of a bird. If you come across a word just once, it is like seeing a nice bird, and then the bird flew and the word is gone. Unless you reinforce again and again, nothing works for you. So this is what is absolutely something I'm just convinced just in and of.
Right.
Then what else worked? That you need minimum 3 or 4 contexts before the words, phrases, expressions, or just some knowledge will become yours. And I second that, because even if you understand everything that is in the resource, just looking at it or having access to the resource is not a guarantee that it is your language that it is your knowledge and it is something you can say. And the major maybe just reason was when you mentioned that learning how to speak without listening to it doesn't
Yeah, it
work.
doesn't work. Mm.
Because yes, you are just memorizing some words, phrases, some written text, some vocabulary. Unless you can hear it, unless you can stay tuned, so nothing will happen. Definitely depends on the type of learner you are, but I'm kind of universal learner because I need both audio and I need the supporting text. This is where your resources and your courses are meeting my expectations, because I can just do something around the house and just turn it on, and in the background it can be on and it works for me. Plus, even commuting, I can also have my just iPods or whatever, and still it works for me. And if we speak about, sorry, I just
No, you've got
some
your
notes.
notes. I can see. Wow,
Yeah.
brilliant, amazing. No, that's great. I'm just going to
Okay.
say
I don't.
before you
Yeah.
carry on, I am blown away because it's amazing. Not only the English that you've learned, but how much you've picked up on the philosophy and the way to learn is amazing. I know you're a teacher, but I think it's so difficult sometimes for students to grasp that the way we learn, how to learn, is as important as what you learn. I'm just amazed that you've picked all of that up, and you even remember the metaphor of the bird. Wow, I had forgotten that. Very, very
I
interesting, but
do.
please carry on.
No, and one more thing that was kind of really just an element of decision making. I remember there was some of the questions the students asked. The question was, how can you secure that your response is the same or the quality or something like that? And your response was, you cannot, because this is the language. For me, yes, because these are cognitive mechanisms, and you cannot be the same because your mood is different, momentum is different, that is, the environment is different. You can never be the same, nor can be your response. So, and that's why this philosophy was something that worked for me.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's great. I'm very, very pleased to hear that. It's lovely. Now, I know also that you not only enrolled in the Gold course, but I think the Idioms course as well, and the writing course that Eli has. Did you find it easy to study and practice online? Because for some people, that kind of approach of online learning is quite challenging. How was it for you?
Well, to be honest, as we know, there are certain pros and cons, but because I'm kind of seasoned teacher and I did practice online teaching as well, I know it can work for some type of learners. The advantage for me was because of all those recordings, I could always have just an access at my own convenience. And since I'm kind of experienced learner, I could find what works for me now, what I can postpone, but I could always have the sort of big picture of what it should be like.
Right.
So that's why definitely I understand what you need. And I mean, like every student needs is practicing,
Yeah.
because this is the resource, but this is just the starting point for you.
Yeah.
And the follow up is your persistence, perseverance, and as they call, blood, sweat, and tears.
Indeed. Your blood, sweat, and tears, indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the course offers different things around, you mentioned the videos that you can study, you can get them on a podcast to listen to. There's the speaking practice rooms to practice. There are things to review with the mini novel and different exercises. For you, which was the most helpful part, do you think?
Okay, I can say that all of them worked for me, but at different just periods of time. Because to be honest, I'm sort of perfectionist and I want it all
Join
happen,
the
but
club.
at the same time, yeah, but at the same time, I'm getting tired of certain things and I need an element of novelty. And this is where the diversity of resources offered by you helped me. Because at certain period, I started with the golden course just to see just all those nice words and just authentic way of putting it. This is what helped. Then definitely the first part of the watchful eyes, this is something like when you walk just in the park or whatever you could do, and I did enjoy it.
Wow,
And you
that's
will cut it short, yeah, then, but I wanted just to say
go on.
that your idea of splitting into 3 courses, 1 to 3, is this year, okay?
Oh, you mean the gold
Is,
course splitting into 3?
yes, the gold course is really kind of a
Good.
visionary thing. Why? Because the course, what you call interactive, is good for what reason? When we look just at the text or all the lesson notes, no problem. Well, yeah, I know, yes. But what is nice is the moment when the students start to come up with their own versions and they are making mistakes. Because my personal philosophy is we know there is an approach of learning via mistakes. Unless you make a mistake, it's not there.
Yeah.
Only if you make a mistake, then you remember, oh, this is because. And to be honest, I do tell my students, if you make a mistake, make nice mistake so that it could be remembered. Then it is for me, and actually even just when teaching even online, I never start planning unless or until I receive the homework and I see the mistakes. Because for me, they are the indicator of where I am. So that's why this idea of splitting into 1 to 3, yeah, it just potentially could meet the requirements of certain types of learners.
Yes, that's very, very nice to hear. That was the idea, to separate it into, so there's the self-study videos, study on your own, the interactive practicing with people. And then for those preparing for the test, like maybe in the next week or two, the exam strategy is really about technique. That's great to hear. It's very, very, very interesting. So moving on, I guess I'm curious if for students who may be watching this and are thinking, well, I'm going to prepare for the IELTS test, are there any tips or advice that you would offer students who are now preparing for their IELTS test?
Definitely. The key tip would be just even if you think that your English is good enough, think of a strategy. And the biggest challenge was the strategy. I couldn't memorize, not my thing. So, but still just a lot of things to go through. And this is where the way you arranged the course helped me, because being practical, I did 2 things. The first thing I did was I did my homework. I started with the questions that I had during my just previous speaking part. Because I told myself, well, if there are certain questions circulating, I know you can say you cannot enter the same river twice, but I did
Okay.
in part 1. in part one, not in part two.
Okay.
And because the question was about roads and bikes. And because I was just doing my homework and I went through, I told myself, okay, so be a smart girl, just try to figure out how you could. And again, practicing, because even if you do it once and you are happy with your answer, but next day you need to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Are you good today as you were yesterday?
Yeah.
No, different. And this is what you call in your latest video flexibility.
Yep.
This is what exactly just gives you the chance for flexibility. And then the next just tip that worked for me, at least, was I told myself before I start a question, I use my schema or schemata, as some people
Schemata.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you say before? How good are you? And then I could see the difference. Okay, I can say this, I can think of that, but this is what could work for me. And when doing my just next kind of second or third review, I would come up with the inventory or just my personal kind of first aid kit of what it should be here. What adjectives, right? What phrases, what idioms, and just following what you mentioned in one of your kind of shorts. So that is, you need a strong opening sentence. And this is what you need for part two.
Yeah.
For part one, this kind of firing right answers, that is, it should work in your head, but again, you need to have the personal bank of kind of really presentable phrases that could impress the examiner. So that is targeting and being pragmatic. And definitely be yourself and be positive, always.
Right. Very interesting. I mean, you've talked there a lot about the strategy. I think when students sometimes feel they didn't get the score they needed, they wonder, shall I do remarking? Shall I take the whole test again? I think you did the right choice there to do just the speaking again. The preparation you did is great. I mean, you talk about the flexibility, the schemata. Essentially, it's the speaking success system, the 4 steps that you go through. And I think students struggle with the 4th step about flexibility, right? Trying to give different answers each time. But it's great that you've done that and picked that up. And then obviously the result, we know you came out with your 8.5 in speaking, which is great. Being yourself is a great tip. I think, again, students struggle. They become almost a robotic version of themselves instead of just themselves. And that's partly mindset. It's partly confidence and relaxing. But you clearly, I mean, you've got a very solid foundation in English, and you've built up through the years your ability to communicate, as well as strategy and exam strategy. And you're clearly a very, very, very confident speaker of English now. I mean, you're a great communicator. I've got to praise your pronunciation because it's stunning. You sound Australian to me. You might as well be from Melbourne.
Okay, thank you so much. Because some people here, actually, I had spent some time in the US just when I was, just as a Fulbright scholar. I spent some time in Boston 1 year. And at that time, I sounded more American. But here you need, just to pick up. And definitely here I've been for 3 years. So that's why one way or another you pick it up.
You do, but not everybody does. You know, some people can stay for 20 years and not pick it up. You obviously have a very good ear. But I think the difference is also, I think you're very proactive. that you do study, you do practice, right? I think.
Yes, yes, I do. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
mean,
much. But I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but I want to thank you for being loyal to yourself in terms, sorry if I sound evaluative, but I hope you understand I want to be appreciative, okay? So for your professionalism and for your systemic approach, plus what I appreciate about your courses is that there is a balance of what we call old school in good meaning of this word, and like a foundation and solid approach, no kind of easy solutions, no magic pill, or just no chip that you can implant into your head overnight. So this is on the one hand. At the same time, you kind of pinpoint exactly what is expected just by the learners, and just being updated in terms of just the course, IELTS, and requirements. And this kind of division into two parts, when first you introduce all the language, vocabulary, situations, practice, whatever, and then you move on to IELTS, I can see how it is built up, because all the phrases, words, they are working there.
That's fascinating. It's great. Olena, we're probably going to come towards the end. You've shared lots of interesting things around your journey, how the course has helped you, your learning style, and also some great tips, I think, for students who are preparing IELTS. I think it's very, very motivational. And the level of English you've attained is inspirational. I think you will be an amazing teacher where you are in Australia. So now that
Thank you so much.
now that you've got your IELTS, I mean, what's going to change for you now?
Well, at least I lodged my application for VIT registration, and I'm just in the process of waiting for the results. If I want to find some job at school, secondary school, I need this VIT registration. So I hope it will just diversify my options, career
Fantastic.
choices.
Fantastic. You're very strategic in your life as well as with IELTS and English.
Thank you. Thank
Very,
you.
very good. Great. Well, Lena, listen, thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody. It's been a pleasure speaking to you and listening to your thoughts and ideas. Let's stay in touch, and I look forward to hearing more from you in the future. All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Wow, what an amazing journey. What an amazing lady. Thank you so much, Olena, for sharing your success with us. I'm sure it will be a big motivation for a lot of students all across the world. If you'd like to find out more about how the IELTS Speaking Gold course can help you become a confident speaker of English so you can ace the IELTS speaking test, check the links below. You can find out about it there. I would love to see you on the course. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you soon in the next video. All the best now. Take care. Bye-bye.